the IEEE student branch and the WI affinity group SKNSOE core team. Last year, we proudly established the IEEE student branch SKNSOE core team with a vision to promote technical excellence, innovation, and professional growth among students. Today marks a significant milestone as we have successfully completed 1 year of this remarkable journey. We are delighted to celebrate the first anniversary of IEEE student branch, reflecting on a year filled with learning, collaboration, and impactful activities. On this special occasion, we are honored to host this webinar, which will provide valuable insights into research methodology, scientific writing, and publication. Also, which will helpful to students and researchers strengthen their academic and professional skills. Thank you all for being a part of this celebration. Once again, a very warm welcome to everyone. Now we will proceed with the virtual lamp lighting ceremony. The lighting of the lamp symbolizes the knowledge, positivity, and the removal of ignorance and darkness. It marks the beginning of a journey towards learning and enlightenment. I request our respected dignitaries to kindly proceed with the virtual lamp lighting ceremony. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Prapti to give introduction of guests. Over to you, Prapti.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Prapti. On behalf of the organizing team, it is my pleasure to welcome you all today's session. We are truly honored to have with us Dr. Mansi Subedar, a distinguished researcher and professional leader in this field of electronics engineering, Internet of Things, telecommunication networks, Industry 4.0, and machine learning. Dr. Subedar holds a PhD electronics engineering and brings with her more than 20 years of experience in teaching, research, academic administration, and professional leadership. She currently serves as the IQAC coordinator of head of the Department of Electronics and Computer Science at Pillai, HOC College of Engineering and Technology, Rasayani, Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra. Ma'am has published over 54 research papers in reputed international journals, and conference has received more than 1,280 documentations on Google Scholar, reflecting the impact of her scholarly contributions. Dr. Subedar is an approval PhD and postgraduate guide of the University of Mumbai and has successfully mentored many postgraduate researchers. She has also played a significant role in fostering innovation and entrepreneurship by evaluating projects in prestigious competitions such as Smart India Hackathon, Avishkar, and various national level hackathons. Her professional achievements are further reflected through her recognition as a senior member of IEEE, fellow of IET, and life member of ISTE, IEI, and CSI. She has held several leadership positions in professional bodies, including serving as the Honorary Secretary of IET Navi Mumbai Center and actively contributing of IEEE Maharashtra section and IEEE India Counseling. A passionate educator and lifelong learner, Dr. Subedar has completed several certifications through NPTEL, Coursera, and EDX, and has delivered several expert talks and hands-on workshops on IoT, machine learning, Python programming, telecommunication networks, and industrial IoT. We are truly privileged to have such a accomplished speaker with us today. Dr. Mansi Subedar, we warmly welcome you, ma'am. Ma'am, the virtual stage is yours. Thank you. Thank you, Archana.
Thank you, Prapti. Now, I would like to invite our respected IEEE SB Council, Dr. K. Shivshankar sir, to share his valuable thoughts with us.
Yeah, respected speaker, Principal Dr. KJ Karande, Vice Principal Dr. SG Kulkarni, Deans, HODs, faculty colleagues, dear students and participants from various countries and states, a very warm welcome you all. So I am Dr. K. Shivashankar, Head of the Department Electrical Engineering and IEEE Student Branch Counselor at SKN Sengar College of Engineering, Koti, Pandarpur. As the IEEE SB counselor, it brings me immense pride to mark the successful completion of our first glorious year. Our journey began on June 17, 2025, when we officially received approval for our IEEE student branch. Our branch has evolved into a vibrant hub for technological innovations and professional developments. So over the past 12 months, we have executed a remarkable total of 25 impactful activities. A major highlight was our highly successful 1 week online international faculty development program. Further, so we have expanded our global footprint by hosting two prominent international webinars. These featured world-renowned experts Dr. Elisha from Boise State University, USA, and Professor Prele from Aalborg University, Denmark. So along with these global events, so our students gain hands-on industry skills through intensive value-added programs. Today, to make this anniversary milestone truly historic, we are privileged to have with us our eminent speaker, Dr. Mansi Subeda. She will give the guidance us through a crucial session on research methodology and publications. Adding to this celebration, we have recently received official approval for the IEEE Women's in Engineering Affinity Group and IEEE Industry Application Society chapters. These new additions will open exceptional avenues for specialized research, industry networking, global grants, and women's empowerment in our campus. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our management and the IEEE Maharashtra section, IEEE Region 10, our faculty coordinators, deans, and HODs, and our student leaders for their tireless dedication, whoever supported us directly and indirectly to make today possible. So let us carry this tremendous momentum forward into our second year and continuous engineering bright future. Thank you once again. So welcome to all for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite our respected Vice Principal, Dr. S.G. Kulkarni, sir, to share his valuable guidance with us.
All dignitaries from IEEE section, the respected Dr. Mansi Subedar, resource person for today's session, IEEE committee members, all office bearers, head of the department, Dr. K. Shivashankar, and all the student friends. So, as far as concerned with this journey of IEEE chapter of Electrical Engineering Department of SKN Sengar College, 1 year has been successfully completed, and as a teamwork, all members have completed near about 25 activities. First of all, congratulations chapter
You,
and all office bearers for this keeping this tempo and this journey successful for 1 year, and very nice activities has been completed, technical, non-technical, and 100% follow-up has been taken for each and every activity. And I think they are having proposal for the conference also, for IEEE conference also. So this is very nice that the total departmental students, faculty members, all are particularly taking keen interest in the successful organization of all such activities, and they are getting the benefit of same one. Today's this particular webinar on research methodology, scientific writing and publication by Dr. Mansi Suvedar as a resource person. Very, very essential activity because we all are now observing the importance of research, not only from accreditation point of view, but from personal growth point of view also. So if we have observed that global innovative index of India is now improving, and definitely this kind of culture of research publication, research activities will definitely helpful. Nowadays we are observing the different challenges around us, and the solution to all the challenges will be given through research activities only. And publication is one of the essential part of this research work. With that one, the today's session is very, very important. And unless and until we don't have the writing skills, we can't go for good kind of articles. Now we are observing that Q1, Q2 journals, how these are demanded, and importance of other normal journal papers are now removing, and only demand of Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 journals are now increasing. So Scopus and essay publications are now coming ahead, and everybody's research should get appreciated with such a good kind of journals. This is the need of the current scenario. So I will not take much of the time. I once again welcome Dr. Mansi Subedar Madam for this wonderful session on research methodology, scientific writing and publication. And I request Madam to physically visit to our campus, as her resources in assessment of particularly Smart India Hackathon or Avishkar. So that will be definitely helpful for us. I once again invite and I welcome to Dr. Subedar Madam, and I request the organizers to go ahead with the session.
Thank you, sir. Before we proceed, I would like to make an important announcement. Participants are kindly requested to submit their feedback after the session. Please note that the completing the feedback form is a compulsory requirement for appearing in the assessment. Only those who complete the feedback submission will be allowed to take the assessment. Now, it is my privilege to invite our esteemed speaker, Dr. Mansi Subedar ma'am, to share her expertise on research methodology, scientific writing and publication. Once again, welcome you ma'am, and kindly begin the session.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, good evening to one and all present here. First of all, my heartiest congratulations to the entire team of the Institute for covering so many activities in just 1 year span of time. So, kindly accept my congratulations to all the faculty and students involved for that. I would also like to thank the Institute Management Principal Sir, Dean Kulkarni Sir, and Shivshankar Sir for giving me this opportunity to discuss this topic with the audience. I will try my best to discuss this topic with you all, and for any queries further, we can surely connect and we can surely discuss it further. If at all I'm not able to complete anything which you expected. So let me share my screen with this. Is my screen visible, sir?
No, ma'am. Maybe about to.
Okay, I'm getting the message as
Yes, ma'am.
it is visible. Okay.
Yes,
Is
it is visible.
Okay. So let me begin with the session. I have kept the presentation little simpler because faculty and doctorate degree holder are already aware of this topic. So keeping in mind students and early career researchers are there in the meeting, I have aligned the topic research methodology, scientific writing and publishing. So after this webinar, we will be able to get an idea about how to formulate the research problems, how to frame the objectives and the research questions, how to have a particular way of building a literature review and identifying the research gaps, how to choose a methodology to complete our objectives and the data collection strategy, how to analyze the findings, what are the do's and don'ts and the precautions to be taken while presenting our simulation results, hardware results, etc. And then how to publish the findings ethically while avoiding any kind of research misconduct. So this is the outline, or we can expect the outcomes of this seminar. We will discuss first about the fundamentals, then the types of research, research methodology, a few methods of data collection and analysis, and then towards the scientific writing, ethics, and the publications. And I'll conclude the session with few best practices that can be followed. So we all hear this topic research everywhere. Initially, only the faculty members who were doing PhD or the higher studies used to talk about this topic. But nowadays, right from school children to higher education students to faculty to everybody talk about this word research. So before starting with what is research and how to do it, let us first have few points about what is not research. So if we are simply collecting some information about some topic, or we are rearranging the facts which are already known to the people, then we cannot call this particular activity as a research. So if we are having some idea and we are just rewriting this information in some different way, in some different template or the format with some different examples, then that is also not a research. If we are showing some delta X incremental improvement over the existing knowledge just by getting some minor modifications in the results, then that activity cannot be also called as a research. So research has to be a completely unique, innovative thing which is not present earlier or which is supported with new evidences and new facts. So with this, what is not research? Now let us see what is research. So as I said, it is a systematic and organized process of investigating a problem, a question, a phenomena to discover new knowledge, validate existing knowledge, and develop solutions. When we say we want to discover something new, we can't ignore or we can't completely modify the existing knowledge. We have to first of all validate what has been exactly done previously, and then what new can be done to provide a meaningful solution. So if we are following a systematic approach for investigating a completely new research question, then that part can come under the category of research. So this research activity must follow some guidelines. It must be conducted using a structured methodology. It must be based on facts and evidences. We can't only justify our data or our observations based on some assumptions. We must take into account the facts and the already existing evidences, and then we should present what new we have achieved. It must also use appropriate tools and techniques. Some scientific tools, simulation tools, or many other tools and techniques are available. We can't only give a narrative or a thought-oriented approach. It should be technical, scientific approach to justify what we want to say. It must involve some data collection and the interpretation while doing the research. That is, it must be analytical, and it should provide some new insights or the solutions while keeping existing data or existing evidences intact. Now, when we say types of research, there are several categories. Most of them can be summarized with the help of this diagram. Usually we say it can be divided as a application, objective oriented, or the inquiry oriented. So let us see these types of research in detail one by one. So the first type of research is a basic research where the scientists work on developing new theories or new models, and they are basically the foundation for application oriented research. So when we say research in core physics, core chemistry, or core molecular level things, then we can classify that as a basic research. Second type is applied research, which we all do in identifying some engineering solutions to develop some technologies or to optimize some processes to get better outcomes. So if we have already existing theorems, laws, or other points which are well developed and well defended, then using that, how can we have new solutions, new prototype design that can come under the word applied research. Then next type is quantitative research. As the name suggests, it talks about quantity, it speaks about the numbers. So if we have numerical databases available, if we want to analyze those numbers and take some insight, then that kind of research falls into the category of quantitative research. So examples include statistical analysis or data-driven decisions. So most of the time when we see the dashboards, some charts or some pie charts, bar charts, or some other kind of charts. Nowadays, Power BI is also in boom. A lot of time we see the charts. So all those things come under quantitative research, where the data is in terms of numbers. Then next type of research, we can classify it as a qualitative research. So when we say quality, it is basically related to the contextual understanding. So what kind of observations we are making, what kind of perceptions we have, then the research done with the help of surveys, with the help of interviews, with the help of some other methods where we are talking about the opinions and behavioral insight, then that type of research comes under the title qualitative research. Sometimes, as per the requirement of the topic, we need mixed methods. We have to follow quantitative as well as qualitative in order to have some in-depth processing, in order to have some stronger validation. Then that kind of research, we can call it as a mixed method research. So these are the types of research. What is my problem? What are the objectives I have set? And what kind of solution I'm looking for? Depending upon these three uh, questions, I can identify which type of research I'm doing, and accordingly, I can choose the tools and the methods. So we discussed about what is the research, what are the types of research. For beginners, for students, or even sometimes when we take admission to PhD, we feel why we should write a research paper. Only doing research, isn't it sufficient? So there are some good points about writing a research paper. First of all, it helps us to share our outcomes with the wider audience. We can share our methods, our findings to the community who is also working on the same research problems. By sharing this knowledge, we can get feedback, we can get good inputs to improvise our methods, to improvise our work. So knowledge dissemination is the most important factor for writing the research paper. Another thing is when other researchers are starting their research, our research papers can act as a foundation, can act as a base for them to start their work and to make some decisions about what not should be done about their topic. So it helps the research community if we are presenting the research papers. So it also supports innovation, collaboration, funding, patents, and the career growth for students as well as faculty. And as we see, lot many countries are leading now in patents and products and funding, etc. It is our duty to support our nation by ensuring that whatever innovation we do, it is of some value to the other researchers and to the other stakeholders. So to achieve all try to convert it to the research paper for better visibility and recognition. So, sir, up to this point, am I audible? Shall I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, after every 8 to 10 slides, I'll keep checking on this so that I'll ensure if there is a proper connection and my slides are visible. Okay, please don't mind.
Sure, sure.
So, yeah, thank you, sir. So now let us understand what are the different components of the research process. If I am a beginner, at what point I should start, what are the steps I should follow, etc. So for the research process, as we all know, the beginning is the research idea. We have to do the literature review, then we have to formulate the research design, collect the data. All these words, I'm 100% sure all the students and faculty members have already heard, and many of you might have also written some research papers. So let us see how to address few important things out of this. So whatever is basic, I have skipped that, but whatever must be discussed, we will have a recap on those points. So when we talk about research, the word that we always hear is a research gap. So how to analyze what topic or what idea I should work on. Suppose I'm a beginner, I don't know which topic to select. So everybody talks about research gaps. What are the research gaps based on which you have formulated your objectives? This sentence we hear not only in PhD and PG orals, but also in while students are presenting their project topics in the third year or the final year levels. Okay. So research gap means what are the limitations of the existing work. Research gaps can be of many types. It can be a knowledge gap, it can be a methodological gap, a data set gap, application gap, or the performance gap. For example, existing methods might have some limitations. They can work only in certain scenario. For so and so settings only, if your method is giving you optimal output, but it is not able to perform in other context or in other scenarios, then that gap we can call it as a methodological gap. For certain problems, if we don't have the appropriate data sets available, only the data set, because when we all know when we want to apply machine learning or deep learning techniques, the first point that comes is quality of data set. If the data set is not of quality, if it is not of sufficient number of samples, then we won't be able to train the uh, application. So if we have outdated data sets or insufficient data sets, and people are only working with those limited data set, then that we can identify as a data set gap. We can create the data sets and then we can apply the ML and the deep learning models on that. It can be application gap also if the solution is not tested in a new domain. Sometimes whatever solutions are there earlier, they become obsolete with some new technology. They cannot be integrated with new advanced technologies. So then in that case, it becomes an application gap. So what kind of domain I'm studying, what kind of a problem I have chosen. Accordingly, the gaps will vary. It may happen that 2 to 3 gaps are there in the problem that I have taken up. So to identify the research gap, first of all, we have to study the literature in detail. Then we have to identify the limitations so that you will understand what are the points that are not being covered in the existing literature. So that becomes your research problem. And accordingly, to solve that research problem, you can draft your objectives. So how to formulate a research problem? Uh, First of all, we have to identify the domain to choose the problem. It can be a relevant technical area as per the expertise or the interest. We have to identify the good quality literature on that domain. We have to study what are the gaps, and then we can identify the specific on the researchable question. Sometimes we feel this can be done, that can be done on a wider scale. But to make it crisp, to make it feasible and doable, we have to be very clear and we have to be very specific when we are defining the problem, because ultimately we have to justify it with what solutions we have received. So evaluating the feasibility of the research problem is very much essential. Sometimes we take some problem, but later on after some time we find that there are no resources, there is no data set available, there is no much literature available, and then we get stuck. So first of all, before drafting your research problem, we should take all these things into account. Then comes what kind of research approach I should follow. So according to the nature of research problem, the objectives, I can identify whether I have to go for qualitative type of methods or a quantitative type of methods or the mixed methods. We will see these methods in detail. let us see first what is qualitative research approach. So as I mentioned earlier, in types of research, qualitative terms comes into picture when uh, we are talking about the behavior or the perceptions or the opinions of the people. So here sometimes numerical data is not there. So if my problem is related to some sites, etc., then I can visit those sites. I can circulate some questionnaire. I can get the feedback from the people. I can conduct the interviews of the people. Likewise, the data is collected in terms of qualitative research, and based on all these documents, the researcher has to write the observations and summarize the results. So there is no numerical data involved in qualitative research approach. So from where to collect data in case of quantitative, I guess it is, yeah, it is quantitative. So we can have statistics, we can have experiments, we can have sensors, data collected from sensors. So all these things contribute to the numbers. So these things can be studied, and depending upon whether your data set is numerical, non-numerical, you have to use statistic-based methods or the other methods. Okay, so how to compare these two approaches? If your data is structured, go for quantitative. If it is flexible in terms of different layouts, then you have to go for qualitative. If it is numerical, quantitative. If it is textual, qualitative. Then if you are choosing a quantitative research, you have to apply the statistical analysis, finding the mean, average, variance, kurtosis, having the probability distributions, all these things. So accordingly, you can perform the analysis in case of quantitative research. If it is qualitative, as I said, depending upon observations and interviews, you have to summarize the experience. So for me specifically, qualitative is I feel it is difficult because everybody has got different perceptions to summarize according to their point of view. But if it is numerical database and if we are applying some tools, the answers or the insights are same for everybody. There won't be any change. So we have to be more careful when we are following the qualitative approach. So once we are sure about which approach to follow, the first steps comes in the research design is collect the data, deciding when and how to collect the data. We have to decide the sample size, we have to decide the frequency, we have to decide from which all resources we should collect the data. Sometimes if you are having uh, standard data sets, then it is fine. But nowadays, students also use GitHub repositories from Kaggle, from any other online platform. So we have to first ensure the data is authenticated. Otherwise, the entire analysis will not lead us to the proper outcomes. Then identify the variables. Which are the variables in your data set? Which are the input variables? Which are the output variables? What kind of relationship they have? So you can find the correlation between these. You can identify the redundant data. Sometimes those who have worked on image processing or other things, you might be aware there are some redundant features. So instead of working on most of the features, we can identify the significant features. We can apply some feature reduction techniques, and we can work only on the meaningful parameters. Identify the sample size. As I said, how much is your sample size or population? 500 samples, 1000 samples, 5000 likewise. And then perform the analysis. And once you perform the analysis, you verify that with the objectives that you have set, have you got the same outcomes that you expected? If no, then go back to your data, check your data set quality and other things, and we have to repeat the process. When we are collecting data from surveys, interviews, observations, you can use Google Forms. For interviews, you can have recordings. If you are visiting some sites, then you can use photographs. If you are visiting the laboratories, then you can, you have, but all these things you have to mention while writing the methodology. All these things, how we have collected the data, what are the assumptions made while collecting the data, what kind of people are involved, is there any bias left behind while collecting the data. All these things need to be verified and mentioned in the research paper or the report. Only collecting the data and using it as it is will not give us the good results. We have to first clean and prepare the data before applying some tools on it. We have to identify if there are any errors, if there are any missing values, if there are any outliers. So especially for the CSV files that we use for processing the data before applying ML techniques, then these steps are very much essential. We have to select the analysis method. We have to check which kind of analysis method suit to this, and accordingly then we can visualize the data. So if there are lakhs of points in data set, simply looking at the numerical values, we will not understand anything. But if we are using some kind of charts, some kind of diagrams to interpret the relationship between data, the ups and downs, the correlation, the frequency of samples, then for these things, visualization helps us to understand the various patterns in the data set. So we have to understand these patterns before processing the data, and then you can validate your findings accordingly. So I haven't kept these things in detail looking at the time span. So what is research? What is not a research? How to frame a research problem? How to decide which method to use, qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method? This is what we have discussed. Now, for scientific writing, we all have to write either a research paper or a thesis or a report. Most of the time, these are the common parameters or common sections that we find in a research paper or a thesis or a report. So first is title, then authors, affiliations. Nowadays, for research papers, ORCID ID is made compulsory in most of the places. Then abstract, keywords, introduction, literature review. In the literature review section itself, we can include problem statement and the objectives. Then the design methodology, results and discussion, comparison with the existing work, and we have to conclude. Let us see some tips while writing these sections in detail. The first comes title. When somebody search research papers in Google Scholar or on internet or on any other platform, the first thing that gets visible is the title of the research paper. So we have to ensure that the title is effective. It gets mapped to exactly what point we are discussing, because that is the first technical impression of the research work that we have done. It must be accurate and it must suggest what kind of problem we have addressed, what kind of methodology we have used. In short, we should not use any unambiguous terms, any general vague jargons in the title, because if the title is good enough, then in most of the Google Scholar search or in other platforms, it get placed at first few pages. So that is the reason our title must be good. After title and authors and affiliation, the first part of the research paper comes as an abstract. So how to write an effective abstract? To write effectively, we must take care that our abstract includes what is my research problem and the objective, what kind of methodology I have followed, what are my key findings, a summary on that, and based on that, what is my overall conclusion about the impact that my paper will make. So if we are addressing 2 lines each of these 4 points, then our abstract gets completed in maybe 300 to 500 words. We should not have any abbreviations in the abstract. We should not give any citations in the abstract. We should not write any figures or tables in the abstract. And it should not be very lengthy. Sometimes we observe that we people write in general about the topic that they are handling in the abstract. No, for that we have got the introduction section. So in abstract directly, we should begin with what kind of problem I'm addressing, what methodology I'm using, any particular reason for that, and then summarizing my results. So we must take this care about what to include and what to avoid in order to write an effective abstract. So this is the simple example I have kept since there are several students in the meeting, if I'm having the title of the paper or the work as design and optimization of solar powered water purification system for rural communities, for example, then what are the key elements this abstract must have? The abstract for this paper, it must include the key elements like this. So what is the problem handled here? The problem handled is clean water access. What is the objective? The objective is to design and optimize this purification system. So about that. Then what is the methodology? The methodology is I'm using solar powered system. So integrating the solar with some other technology, that is about the methodology. Then the results and the conclusion. So for such kind of abstract, looking at the title itself, we can identify what all should go in the abstract. Accordingly, you write the abstract. Then after abstract comes the next section called as introduction. Introduction is basically the section where we are introducing the domain, where we are introducing the research area in order to establish some context. What is the area? What are the works going on? What are the limitations or the unsolved problems in this work? These things should be discussed in brief in the introduction section. And because of these limitations or the unresolved challenges, what kind of problems the stakeholders are facing. So whatever point I'm going to work on, how that point will solve these problems. And accordingly, how I have set the objectives to get the solution. These things should be covered in the introduction section. So introduction is the base foundation of your research paper. Why the topic that you have taken is important need to be stated clearly in this section. Otherwise, the readers will not get an interest or will not identify why somebody is working on this topic. Sometimes people find this topic is very routine, very old. Why he or she is writing again research paper on that? So for that question, uh, establishing the context is necessary in the introduction section. After introduction section comes the literature review. Now here you will see in introduction also I have mentioned identify limitations or unresolved challenges in existing work. So this is in general overall challenges, limitations of the existing work. But in detail about whatever the other researchers have presented, we have to cover in the literature review section. So we must identify minimum 30 to 40 good quality research papers which are not outdated, which are referring to the current state of the knowledge, which are recently published, some old, some recent, some like that, the combination we should make. But if you are only referring the papers of before 2000 or before 1995, then certainly our work will be called outdated, because the reviewers will feel that I have not updated my knowledge and I haven't checked the recent this year's papers. So we must take care that we have reviewed the current literature before writing the literature review. We must compare the findings presented by other researchers while writing the literature review. What kind of results they have got, what kind of environment they have worked on, then what are the factors they have considered. Accordingly, we should write the research gaps. So if they might not have considered few parameters which are important. They might not have considered few environments in which their system will fail. So accordingly, with due respect to the other researchers in the field, we have to summarize the limitations and the challenges about the literature review. Simply saying other works are bad and whatever I am doing is of importance is not a good sign of the researchers. Whatever they have done best and the limitations, both we have to summarize in a respectful manner. So what are the best practices that must be followed while writing the literature review section? First of all, we have to critically analyze the studies. Sometimes we find students write ABC et al. Has presented so and so. Then immediately XYZ et al. Has presented so and so. So this is not a literature review. We have to write what work they have done, what kind of results they have got. So literature review section should at least go to minimum 1 page or 2 page if it is a research paper, and if it is a thesis, obviously much more than that. When we are organizing the research papers or the related works in that domain, there must be some theme behind it. Are you referring to the chronological structure, or are you grouping the papers in the literature in according to the context or according to the tools they have used? That we have to identify. Writing literature review section with first paper of 94 and second paper of directly 2026 and then of again 1990 something, okay, is completely irrelevant. We have to prioritize which are the relevant sources, which are the recent sources, or have some theme based on tools and technologies. So that you can elaborate in the first 2 lines, that the literature review section is organized in so and so way. We must ensure we are using the accurate and the consistent citations. Nowadays, it has become a trend to cite papers which are not relevant just to increase the number of citations. So that we should avoid, because if it is observed by the reviewers, our paper will straight away will be rejected. And we should summarize this literature review with the research gaps and the objectives. So how to write these research objectives? Our problem statement is defining the challenge and the context of the problem. Problem statement and objectives are different. Problem statement simply says what is the challenge faced by the people, what is the gap in the existing work, and to solve that gap, to address that challenge, what kind of objectives I have set for my research problem. So these two things are different. Sometimes students get confused with the difference between two. When we are framing the objectives, we should be smart, that is specific. Our objectives must be specific, they must be measurable, they must be achievable, relevant, and time bound. So if we are verifying these characteristics of objectives, then 3 to 4 objectives are sufficient enough for one research study. Then we wrote abstract, we wrote introduction, we wrote literature review, and we identified the objectives. Now to achieve those objectives, what is the methodology that I'll be following? So the overall strategy that we follow for defending the proposed method depends upon what kind of problem you have, what kind of data set you have, and what kind of evidences you want to make. Okay. The most important thing in design methodology is what tools you are using. Are they updated? Suppose if I'm now presenting some observations based on MATLAB 2000 version, okay, then that will not match to the recent versions, because recent if you are using open source tools, you can always upgrade with the recent versions. But if you are using license copies, then please make sure that the software platforms are updated and they are of the recent versions. Why is because there are new toolboxes. The observations get different in the time complexity and a few other parameters. So checking the recent updations in the software and the hardware is important while presenting the methodology. Especially for hardware also, if there are some boards that you are using to get the results, are those boards outdated, or are they meaningful in current scenario? That we have to check. So once we write proposed methodology with all the points related to what kind of design I have, what tools I have followed, what is the step-by-step process while doing the methodology, and all about why I have chosen this data set, what kind of measurements I have done, all these things we have to write in the methodology. Then in result section, we have to present the results. Simply writing paragraphs will not be sufficient. We have to include some kind of tables, some figures. If it is table, it can be values, statistical analysis, or the performance metrics, figures related to, suppose if it is a ML technique, then AUC graph, ROC curve, training loss, testing, validation loss, all those figures. If it is some other GUI based things, then the screenshots, all those things are necessary to be presented while completing this result and discussion section. We must highlight the benchmarks and the trends in the data set. Always, for any work we do, there are certain limitations for work. It is no work is 100% correct. We must be honest enough to declare what limitations we got, what patterns we observed, what failures we had while getting these results. Sometimes we get good results at immediately 10 or 15 epochs. Sometimes we don't get good results after 30 epochs also. So if there is certain trend, if there if you face some issues, then those can be clearly discussed. There is no harm in saying these things failed in this environment or this context likewise. So while we are presenting the result, we should take care that just because the previous researcher has mentioned 93% accuracy to get my paper selected, I will write it 95. Okay, that should not be done. If you are getting 93.2 also, it is fine. If you are getting 93 also, same exactly with that researcher, but you have included some different context, some different features, you have solved some other points, then that is worth saying I got less accuracy than the earlier researchers. So we should not fabricate the results. We should not hesitate in declaring the limitations or the unexpected outcomes that we might have got while getting the results. Figures and tables, when we are putting into the thesis or the report or the paper, they must be clear. They must be self-explanatory. We should take care of the captions, the axis labels, the clarity, resolution of the figures. We must ensure that each and every figure and table is cited in the text. Table 1 shows so and so, table 3 shows so and so. Likewise, not only writing this one line is sufficient. What patterns you are observing from the figures? If you have charts, then from that nature of the chart, what is the conclusion made? All these things must be interpreted in detail in order to convince your findings to the audience. So don't unnecessarily include many figures just to increase the length of the report or the paper. Like 10 to 12 figures are not required if they are conveying the same meaning. So that is the meaning of the term present only relevant and non-redundant data. If 2 to 3 figures are saying same thing, then you can have any one. For whatever figures you have drawn, no need to have again tables representing the same observations. At last, we have to conclude the report, paper, or the thesis. So when we are writing conclusion, we have to take care of these 4 points. What was done? So you have to summarize the study and you have to summarize the major findings of your work. What was learned? What are the key contributions and insights while doing this work? What are the limitations of your work? And what can be the future scope or the future research opportunities? If you are answering these 4 terms, then we can say that the conclusion is complete. So what are the findings, the contributions, the limitations, and the future work? If you observe, sometimes students or the faculty feel abstract and conclusion covers same things, but it is not like that. Uh, Here in abstract, we are just summarizing results in brief, but in conclusion, what is the interpretation of those results, what that we have got, and what are the contributions is the additional part, along with limitations and future work, which is obviously not there in the abstract section. So likewise, abstract conclusion and abstract can be written. There is one more section which is essential in research work called as acknowledgement. If you have downloaded data sets from any researcher's website, etc., then you must acknowledge that. If your work is funded, if your work is in collaborations with other researchers of other institutions, that can be mentioned in the acknowledgement section. If you have visited some other organizations' laboratories in order to get the results, they might have some good hardware equipments with them that you have used for validation, for calibration, all these things. If there are any other centers, laboratories that you have taken help from, all these things must be clearly acknowledged in the paper. After this comes reference section. Reference section initially was not of that attention, but nowadays references are clearly getting attention because of duplicate references found in the papers, because of redundant references found in the papers. So please ensure while including the references in the research paper, are they really addressing the same problem that your work is addressing? Don't just increase the number of references to increase the count. Second is style of the reference. For whatever publisher you are submitting your research paper, it is IEEE, Elsewhere, Springer, Taylor Francis, etc. Check what kind of citation style they follow and accordingly reformat the references. Secondly, there is a different uh, formatting style for references if they are from journal articles or for conference papers or for textbooks or the online resources. We should take care of following the different formatting style. So ensure all the references that you have used are properly cited at appropriate place in the research paper. Second, there must be consistency in the citation. Sometimes writing numbers in the square brackets, sometimes writing author name and the year of publication. This variation should not be there. There must be proper way throughout followed all over the paper, and each and every reference must have the complete structure: author, title, venue, volume, issue, page number, year, DOI. All these things must be there. If you are simply writing title and the authors, people will not be able to link that reference to the citation. So please follow these best practices in order to complete the reference section. Now our entire paper is completed with this, like we wrote all the sections. Once the first draft is ready, we must read it at a stretch in order to understand whether the target audience will be able to find the link in the subsections. Are all sentences complete and clear? Is there any overlap? Is there any duplication in the sections? Am I saying same thing again and again in different active wise, passive wise, in introduction, in literature review, and in methodology? Are my figures, tables, observations, readings technically correct for presentation? Have I cited all the figures, tables, and equations in the paper? All these things must be verified uh, before submitting the paper for the peer review. So these are the overall revision guidelines once your first draft of the paper is done. Then while doing all these things, sometimes we observe research misconduct. Research misconduct can be in different ways. If I am uh, uh, if I am using wrong data, if I am presenting wrong results, if I am manipulating some materials or the processes, or if I am just duplicating the ideas of other researchers. So all these things falls under the category of research misconduct. The most famous research misconduct that we observe now is plagiarism. So plagiarism, this word is brought from the Latin word plagiar, which actually means kidnap. But in the context of research paper writing, plagiarism means copying someone's content and saying that it is my content. So common causes of plagiarism include, it can be accidental, it can be intentional. I'm in a hurry to present my paper, so I will purposely copy it. Sometimes I don't have the required skill set, so rather than studying and spending time on training, I will simply copy the things. Sometimes we have pressure to publish, so because of that also we copy. And sometimes it is easy access over the search engines, etc. But whatever is the cause, plagiarism is not a good practice. We must avoid it uh, in order to gain visibility, in order to gain some integrity over our work. So nowadays, all the conferences, journals, they all use plagiarism detection tools. I'm sure most of the colleges also use plagiarism detection tools for project reports, etc. So these are the two widely used plagiarism tools, Turnitin and Authenticate, for identifying the plagiarism in the paper. And publishers also use some other work. So in brief, I would like to show the Turnitin report of the paper. So this is one of the paper, and this is the uh, plagiarism report and the AI report that I'll be showing for the paper. So if you can see here clearly, the part of the research paper is highlighted. Okay, so it is colored in different colors. Okay, so the meaning is this much part of this paper is directly copied from some resources. Okay, so if you see, yeah, this is for AI detection. So whatever colored part you saw in the paper, that is simply generated using AI. So Turnitin has got a feature to identify plagiarism as well as AI written text. If I'm simply putting the section titles in the ChatGPT, Gemini, or other tools, and I'm asking it to write, then it can easily get detected with the percentage. And all the conferences and journals are using these tools to identify the AI content. So if this AI content is there, then straight away, before uh, sending it for review, our paper will get rejected. So we have to, just a minute, yeah. We have to take care that we are not using AI tools for writing. Let me show you quickly the plagiarism report. Okay. Just a minute. My screen is hanged because of admitting those participants. Yeah. So this is the plagiarism report from the same Turnitin. If you can see here clearly, whatever text is highlighted here with the colors. Now here the copied content is less. Okay, so you are finding less colored and all the black colored text. But in between it is there. If you can see this pink color, violet color, all these things, this is here shown as the copied text. So at the end, it will clearly give you how much text is copied and from which all resources. So likewise, for any paper, just a minute, I'm scrolling the screen. Yeah, so if you can see here now, 7% is the overall similarity. So most of the journals and conferences, they accept below 10%. So if it is more than 10%, then you have to see which is the highlighted part with the color, and you have to remove that part which is plagiarized. Okay, so let us avoid plagiarism and AI so that we can get good reviews for our research work. So what is the plagiarism policy followed by journals and conferences? They, each and every journal and conference, they write this policy on the web page of their conference or the journal. We have to check what kind of declarations we have to make for AI as well as for plagiarism, and you have to read it carefully. Most of the journals have included these declaration sections. If we are generating some content using AI, are we declaring AI tool as a co-author? If not, if yes, accordingly, we have to alter the declarations in the paper. So if we are generating some figures, some code, some text using AI, then it must be clearly disclosed if it is allowed by the publisher. If it is not, then we should just take the ideas, inputs from these tools, and we should write by our own way in order to avoid the rejection. These are some important tools for the researchers that every researcher must be aware of. If we are doing literature review, we must be able to use Google Scholar, Scopus, and Web of Science databases for finding out good quality research papers. For managing the references, we can use Mendeley, Zotero, or EndNote if the number of references are 100, 150, 250. If they are less, we can easily do it manually also. Then basic programming languages or for statistical analysis, SPSS are these platforms must be aware of. Then for writing, we must be able to see how to use Grammarly or the LaTeX. Now overleaf templates are available for most of the journals and conferences. So we can use overleaf. Even the PPT that I'm showing you now is made in LaTeX in the overleaf. Research integrity, we must take care that we are verifying the plagiarism report and the AI report with the help of these tools that I mentioned just now. And research identity for ORCID, ResearchGate, Google Scholar, all these things you must have awareness on all these things. So we will come to know which tool to use where, how to find good resources, how to find good papers, how to align the things properly. So then publishing research output, we covered what is research, how to do the methodology, and how to write the paper. Now the third section comes, how to publish the research output. You can take a call for publishing the research output either in terms of a conference paper or a journal paper, or if you are developing some data sets or some course, then you can use some repositories. What is the difference in choosing conference or the journal? Okay, so conference and journal both have their own pros and cons. Conference papers get reviewed in less time compared to journals. Uh, for conferences, we have to pay the registration amount. For journals, most of the journals are free unless they are open access. If they are open access, then we have to pay the APC, that is article processing charge. And if you are putting your codes and data sets, if you are making it open license, then most of the time there are no charges for that. When we are publishing our paper, what what are the reviewers looking for while selecting our paper? First of all, reviewers check, is there any novelty and meaningful contribution in the work? Is it redundant to existing paper? Because if you see the databases on any topic nowadays, if you take, you will get at least thousands of papers. So out of that thousand, how my contribution is unique and different, that we must be able to communicate in the paper. Reviewers are looking for technical soundness, novelty, and have I validated my say using some evidences. That is checked by the reviewer. So if we don't want rejection, then we must take care of these best practices. Is my work useful for the stakeholders? Is my work suggesting some new findings? Is my work suggesting some new methodology? And whatever I'm saying and claims I'm making, are they validated with the data and with the evidences? These things must be checked. When you are choosing a journal or the conference, please take care of these points. First of all, the scope. Many a times our paper gets rejected without sending it for review, saying that it doesn't match the scope of the journal. For conferences, hardly it happens unless they are very narrowed down to particular topic. But for journals, it happens most of the times. We must read the scope, the editors, the previously published papers on the journal website. For any journal, visit the website, read about the scope, read about the article processing charges, read about the indexing, read about the timeline and the author guidelines tabs given on the journal website. Each journal follows some different formatting style, some different declaration sections. Each journal is having different indexing, Scopus, Web of Science, Google Scholar, etc. So according to your requirements, you have to identify the journal based on the topic, based on the scope, and based on the APC and the timeline. If you are in a position to pay the APC, then you can choose such journals, or else you can choose subscription-based models to publish the paper. Nowadays, there is a very much boom on predatory journals. So predatory means which are outdated, which are fake, which are duplicated. So there are certain journals which are duplicate, which are not real. They just manipulate the URL of the genuine journal and they collect the APCs. So please ensure we are visiting a correct website while choosing the journal. You can also use some journal finder tools according to the domain. For mechanical, physics, electronics, there are several journal finders, Springer, Taylor and Francis, etc. All these things are available on Google. You can simply type journal finder tools. You will get a list, and in whatever publisher you want to go ahead with, if it is Taylor Francis or if it is Springer, you can identify the correct journal which fits to the scope of your topic. So we have come to the end of the presentation. Uh, in order to conclude whatever we discussed till now, these are the key principles we must follow for research excellence. First of all, the research problem that we have must be well motivated and must be meaningful to address the gaps in the existing research papers. For that, we must do the systematic literature review. Simply taking two papers and saying that researchers have not covered this and then I'm doing this will not serve the purpose. We have to ensure that we have read and studied in detail and analyzed at least 30 to 50 papers before presenting the research work in journal or the conference. whatever design experiments we are doing, whatever methodology we are following, it must be followed rigorously with all the minute details taken care, right from data collection to data analysis to sampling to processing the results and using the tools like AI, ML, etc. We must maintain the integrity. No results, no methods should be falsified, should be duplicated, or should be copied. If we are copying something from any other researcher, paper, work, etc., we must clearly write that in the reference, and we must write that in the research paper also. Nowadays, we find figures especially are copied from other research papers, but people forget to give the reference for figures. So there is no harm in giving reference to the figure also next to the figure title if we are copying that figure from any other research paper. Then am I making a clear flow, a clear, convincible write-up for the audience that we have to check? So communicate clearly. Don't write jargons or uh, unnecessary things in general just to increase the length of the report and maximize the impact. Feel free to share it with the peers to get the critical comments, to get it reviewed, because not showing the work to anybody and publishing it will make create problems later on. Be open to criticism so that we can make the required changes before submitting it to the journal for publication. Dissemination strategy, whatever work we do, we can present it at the conference initially. When we actually attend the conference, we can get the real-time feedback from the reviewers, from the session chairs, from the peers who are attending that session. So it helps us to modify and develop our work correctly in the correct direction. If you are sure about what work you have done and it is in depth, then only you go for submitting the research paper to the journal article. And then after that, you may have some follow-up articles or some extended articles for that. So this is the way we can disseminate our work depending upon the depth and depending upon the timeline. If we are presenting the work in the conference, then we must take care of these things. Just there, because there are students, I have included this slide. Whatever slides we are making, they must be in bullet points. There should not be lengthy paragraphs in the slides, limited text. We have to summarize the ideas, not lengthy sentences. We must try to include diagrams, graphs, charts, etc. Now today's presentation is non-technical, so there were very less diagrams, graphs and charts. But when the work is technical, we have the proposed method diagram, we have results, we have simulation graphs and all those things. So these visuals are necessary for in the presentation as well as in the paper. And we must maintain consistency for fonts, for sizes, etc. There should not be any unrequired text, just rephrased here and there in the same sections. So this care must be taken while presenting the paper in the conference, both online and offline. So these are my final thoughts. Good research creates knowledge, good writing communicates knowledge, and good publishing amplifies knowledge. So whatever research we are doing, it must be done in a proper manner. It must be communicated also in the proper manner. And while remaining open for criticism or inputs or feedback, we must be able to modify it as and when required. So thank you very much for your listening. Here I complete the presentation. Over to Shiv Shankar sir for any questions, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, I have tried to cover basics of methodology because time is limited. I focused more on research paper sections,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, lot of
publishing and
things you have covered,
plagiarism,
ma'am.
etc.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am. No, ma'am. Yeah, you have covered so many things that is beneficiary to the researchers. So because that everyone, so writing the research papers during the UG, PG, and PhD as a faculty members also. So everyone nowadays. So this is the useful session for the all participants.
Yes, sir. I hope so. So any questions or any inputs or any feedback or anybody from the audience feels this is not covered or anything like that, we can discuss.
Hello, ma'am.
Friends are
Yes.
asking like that, share the PPTs, ma'am.
UG research papers are useful to higher studies.
Yes, they are useful. If you are continuing in the same domain, if you are already having some good quality research papers presented, it will help you for your recommendations as well as while taking some projects in higher studies.
There are any advantages in jobs by the research papers?
Depends on what technology you are working on. If you are developing some prototype, if you are developing some innovative models, then that also will help you to crack the interviews and to demonstrate your skill set. Because nowadays everybody complains students have less practical knowledge and more theoretical knowledge. So in order to avoid this remark, if you are presenting something and demonstrating something with the help of research papers, it will definitely lead you to good jobs and good packages. No doubt about it.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you. Okay, so no questions.
Hello,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah, somebody was speaking. Yes, sir.
ma'am. Is there any advantage for electrical student while research on AI and EVs?
Yes, definitely. See, nowadays all the fields are all the domains are collaborating together. All the peoples are collaborating together. Hardly it is a difference that electrical engineer, computer engineer, because core concepts, core domains are same, and people are trying to use advanced ML or deep learning topics or some other technologies to solve those problems. So integrating electrical engineering domain with the ML techniques or ML tools will certainly have a good way to solve the problems. So you can try that. How to develop solutions in electrical engineering using these recent tools and technologies.
Okay,
Because
sure. Thank you, ma'am.
traditionally, anyhow in MATLAB, electrical engineers, I guess most of the times use MATLAB software for demonstrating the results because lot many toolboxes are available. So these toolboxes are also available with MATLAB. So you can definitely try to integrate it.
Okay, sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Session was
Is
very
there any
informative,
legal and
ma'am.
accurate website for AI
Very-
detection?
Yes, Ranjit sir.
Ma'am, is there any legal or accurate website for AI detection?
For
AI detection of research paper.
is there any proper website for? I'm not able to hear after that. What did he say, sir?
Proper website for AI detection. Any available
AI
legal?
detection. Yeah. So for AI detection, online tools are available, but they have limitations of some 500 words, 1000 words like that. But for the software like Turnitin, etc., there are many. Turnitin is there, Authenticate is there, Drillbit is there. Depending upon which institution is using which software, we can directly submit a report or the research paper to that software, and it generates two reports. One is a AI report and second is a plagiarism report. So in plagiarism report, we come to know which research papers, from which research papers the text is copied, or from which blogs or thesis submitted online in Shodhganga, etc. The things are copied. And in AI report, we come to know how much of the text is AI generated using AI tools. So all such text which get AI generated gets highlighted. I hope you have seen the two reports I have shown in brief. So those two reports that I showed clearly indicates the highlighted part, which is either copied or AI generated. Plagiarism allowed limit is below 10%, and for AI detection, it is ideally 0%.
Okay, thank you,
So
ma'am.
you can check with your institution which AI detection tool license copy they have. If not, then you can take help from somebody else to get those reports before submitting your work. Or if you are sure that you have generated some sections using AI, understand the idea and you rewrite in your own words rather than copying it as it is. That will help.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a question. Can I ask you?
Yes, go.
What emerging trends or topics can be used for upcoming records for UG students?
Upcoming topics and trends depends again on your domain and on your interest. Now AI ML is little old fashioned. Everybody is using AI ML everywhere. So if you are from core domain like electrical, mechanical, etc., you can identify topics of your domain and maybe you can solve it with some new tools and technologies. But simply saying the domain names like blockchain, quantum computing, robotics, NLP, etc., will not help. You have to first see your background, your expertise, and then you have to align it with the recent trends. Because for electrical engineer, directly learning blockchain will not be useful. Similarly, for a computer engineer, going in deep into embedded systems may not serve the purpose if expertise and interest is not there. So you have to map your background, expertise, and interest all together to identify the recent trends to work on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Any other question? Or else we can close the meeting then. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for delivering such an insightful and informative session. Your valuable guidance on research methodology, scientific writing, and publication has greatly enhanced our understanding and will certainly help us in our academic and research journey. Further, there is no any questions from participants. I kindly request everyone to turn on their cameras for a few moments so that we can take some photos and make this event a memorable one.
I have shared my number in the chat box and email ID also. If anybody would like to discuss anything later on, please feel free to contact.
Dear participants, please turn on your videos so we may capture the group photos.
To mark the attendance.
Yes.
Is it done, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
evening, sir. Kotak sir, good evening.
Sir, you can unmute, sir.
Yeah, you are muted.
Kotak, sir, you can unmute yourself.
Wonderful talk. Thank you so much for that enlightenment.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
crystal clear and on the dot as always.
On the dot. Yeah, because in the evening time, on the dot is essential. Otherwise, we just log in and then we disappear.
I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate the student branch team of your institution, sir. Wonderful team. I have been actually
Thank
keeping
you,
a
sir.
track of this events and just kudos to the team. I mean, keep
Yes.
going and
In such a short span of time, they have conducted lot of good activities.
actually
So
they
hats
have
off to
faced a lot
the
of
branch
challenges.
counselor.
Yes.
Madam, they have faced a lot of challenges also to, even to form this student branch. And but then kudos, they did not leave it. They went
Yes, and they
ahead.
made it worth.
Yes, ma'am. With the
Wonderful.
support
Worth
of
waiting.
management and principal sir is continuously used to support me.
No, amazing, because I've been giving examples of your student branch to many of the older student branches. To be very honest, I'll confess, and
Yes, sir.
because many of the metro city student branches are under the wrong impression that that they are doing well. I said you go through this particular institution, the student
Yes.
branch within a very short time. 25 events is amazing. I mean, so
Yes, sir.
keep
Students
going.
also too active, sir. They are used to active
Yes.
participants.
No, hats off
Yeah.
to the management and the authorities, who are supporting you all.
Thank you, sir.
I
Yes.
forgot to thank Prapti. I guess she was coordinating with me on emails. So Prapti, if you are there in the meeting, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She was only introduced you.
Okay. So thanks, Prapti, for coordinating with me on emails. Thank you.
Mansi ma'am,
Yeah.
I would
Yes, sir.
like to tag along with you because sir has invited you
Ma'am, thank
offline
you so much.
Yes,
to the institution
definitely.
and also take the privilege of darshan at Pandharpur.
Yes. We will definitely do it, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, all of you. I'll log off. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, Shiv Shankar, sir. Shall we leave
Just,
then?
just a
Yeah.
minute, ma'am. Now we
Yeah,
have
sure.
the vote of thanks. So after
Okay.
that we may leave.
Yeah, no problem.
Archana.
Just share the feedback with me as well.
Sure,
Whatever
ma'am.
feedback is done by the audience, kindly share it with me as well.
Sure. Obviously
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah.
Yes. Archana, you may continue the
Yes,
session.
sir.
Yeah, continue the
Okay,
session.
sir. Now, I would like to invite to Vaishnavi to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the organizing team, I am Vaishnavi. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who contribute to the success of this webinar on research methodology, scientific writing, and publication. First and foremost, I would like to thank our esteemed speaker, Dr. Mansi Subedar, for sharing such a valuable knowledge and insight with us. Your session was truly inspiring and informative. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our respected principal, Dr. KJ Karande sir, Vice Principal, Dr. SG Kulkarni sir, and IEEE SB Counselor, Dr. K. Shivshankar sir, for their constant supports and guidance. Our special thanks to the IEEE Student Branch, SKN SCOE, Core T, IEEE WIE Affinity Group, and the Electrical Department along with all the organizing committee members for their dedicated efforts in making this event successfully. Lastly, I would like to thank all the participants for joining us and making this technical webinar interactive and meaningful. Once again, thank you all for your presence and supports. Have a wonderful evening ahead. Over to you, Archana.
Just to interrupt,
Thank
sorry
you,
to interrupt. There is one more question in the chat box. Is it better to publish many research papers or a few quality research papers, and why? So Omkar Padgal has written this question. So I would like to answer this question. Rather than having many papers which are neither useful to us nor to the other stakeholders, it is better to have one or two papers only, which will have uh, some foundation for the upcoming researchers or some visibility in terms of visibility and recognition for us also. So always go for a qualitative approach and not quantitative while publishing the papers. It is certainly not, we can't count it how many paper is good or bad. It is just about uh, verify on your own if it is really meaningful whether it will be useful to anybody. If it is answering yes, then go ahead. Otherwise, simply adding the scrap in the Google Scholar will not help. Nobody will read it and nobody will even open it. So we should have only few publications which are of importance and which will be of some use to the upcoming researchers. Okay, so I just answered that question. Thanks once again to Principal Sir, Karande Sir, Kulkarni Sir, Shivshankar Sir. Thank you so much, sir. Looking forward to have more interactions further in the offline mode as well.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, one more question came in the chat box.
Okay.
Ma'am, I want to publish the papers, but I am not, I am totally zero. So please suggest how
can I start? Okay. So, sir, first of all, you can identify what are the topics of interest to you. Either some domains. Everybody has some interest in the domains. Somebody is interested in robotics. Somebody is interested in NLP, machine learning, agriculture, smart manufacturing. Likewise, you identify what is your interest area. Because if we don't take the topic from the interest area and later on we have to read 40-50 papers, then we get bored of it. So unless the domain is of our interest, we won't be able to spend hours on that topic. So first of all, identify in which domain you are interested. Read some at least some 20-25 papers which are recently published in 26, 25, etc. Then we will understand what kind of work other people have done, what kind of problems they have identified, what methodology they have followed, and then you will get the point what are the gaps in their work, and then you can identify those gaps and you can work on those gaps to solve those gaps. So likewise in CRISP, I can say 3 steps. First is identify the interest area. Second is read some good novel papers, maybe at least 20 to 25 in the beginning, because if you keep on reading for 1 year, then you will lose interest. So read some 20-25 good papers. To start with, another option is you can go ahead with the review papers. Rather than directly work papers, there are review reports, review papers, which summarizes at least 50 to 100 papers. So try to get some good quality review papers published in Elsewhere or Springer. Read that. You will get an overall idea about the domain. What kind of problems people are discussing, what kind of methodologies they are discussing, and then gradually you will gain interest in identifying something new in that domain, and that you can take a point as a research problem, and then you can work. So once your implementation is ready, then you can think of writing it as a research paper. Research paper comes as the last step. First, identifying the problem, working on it, implementing it, verifying the outcomes is all required. Research paper writing is very short part of this entire research process. It will not take much time. If we have done the work on our own, then what we have done only we have to write. So it won't take time. So first complete this life cycle of research process, and then at last think of writing a paper. Don't keep the target of writing paper in the beginning. Keep the target of identifying something unique and implementing it as the objective. I hope I answered this question, sir, if you are in the meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I wish you all the best. If anything is needed, feel free to email me. No problem.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your
Thank you, sir.
invaluable time.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Shall we close the meeting then? Shall I leave?
Sure, ma'am. Yeah,
okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to all the participants for listening and being interactive. Looking forward to having more discussions. If I can be of any help to any of you, please feel free to contact me. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Good night.
Participants, you may complete the feedback link. After completion of the feedback link, you may get the assessment link through your registered emails. So after 1 hour, you may get the assessment link. You can complete the assessment, then you may get the e-certificates.